Nevada. He had no criminal past. He reportedly had several large gambling transactions in recent days. He had both pilot's and hunting licenses, and his father was a notorious bank robber who used to be on the FBI's most wanted list. So we bring in Daniel Linsky, former Boston Superintendent-in-Chief of Police, Incident Commander for the Boston Marathon bombing, and Managing Director at risk response consulting firm Kroll. We had you on about this time yesterday, Daniel. Based on what we know now, what conclusions can you draw?
We know that he has got some investments. We know that he engaged in casinos a lot. That means there's got to be a number of people who saw him at gambling tables. Maybe there's bartenders at bar rooms. Law enforcement is going to have a number of places to go back, talk to individuals who encountered him. What was he talking about? What was he thinking? What was he doing? Who was he with? Pulling video, finding out any associates. We're going to start doing forensics on his phones, his computers, his bank records, his transactions to try and recreate where he's been in the last couple months, what his life has been about, and if anyone has any pieces of information that might have seemed at the time to be not appropriate or out of context, and now with this maybe helps fill these puzzle pieces together a little bit.
So I understand that the police will be looking for any sort of hard evidence, where he's been, transactions that he has made, things he has purchased. But what about as far as looking for his mentality through all of this? What can they do to be looking into the mind of a man who would have carried out such a horrific attack?
You know, we're going to be looking to see if there were any medications in the hotel room, in his home. Was he under a doctor's care? Let's get those medical records, see what was going on. Are there any of these medicines that lead people to depression, to suicidal ideation that he might have been involved with? They're going to look at his cell phone, his GPS. The weapons that he utilized appear to be converted to full automatic with bump stocks. That's a weapon that you're going to have to practice with. You're going to have to get some trigger time. So I'm assuming that they're looking at ranges near his home and in and around the Las Vegas area to see if he was out doing any significant target practice with those weapon systems and see who he was with, what he was talking about when he was there, and what his motivations were. They're going to try and recreate every moment of his life, from every bank transaction to cell tower that his GPF's hitting off, to see exactly what he was doing in the weeks and days leading up to this event.
Daniel, is it hard for you to fathom that here we are talking about this 24 hours later, no known motive, no criminal past, that this man, 64 years old, went up to the 32nd floor of a Las Vegas hotel and shot down at 22,000 concert goers? Is it hard for you to fathom that we don't know his motive at this point?
It's hard to me to fathom that it even occurred. That evil could just do that to innocent people who were, just trying to enjoy themselves. So the whole act is unfathomable. To have it not have a direct motive, certainly makes it challenging to try and bring it. But is there any motive that would possibly justify what this individual did? The whole event has, as I said yesterday, it's changed everyone involved, whether you were there, knew somebody there, or trying to figure out other individuals in our society and how they can do these things.
So right after this occurred, his female companion, Mary Lou Danley, was a person of interest. It was quickly reported and confirmed by the local police that she was out of the country. She apparently they lived together in that home that we keep describing. She's been since cleared by authorities, but obviously they're going to continue to want to talk to her.
I'm sure the FBI legal in the country that she's in have interviewed her, and they're doing extensive follow-up interviews to find out if she can help them recreate what was going on in his life, who he was talking to, what he was thinking, and to see if we can possibly find a motive behind this. And the other, if there's any support or logistical help, it seems as if it's going along one guy, one will. But, there might have been people along the way that did things that contributed to his ability to pull off this act. And if it was illegal, we want to hold every individual accountable who might have contributed to this.
It's really interesting. We've had a reporter on the ground there in his neighborhood in Mesquite, Nevada, throughout the morning, who has been showing signs that neighbors have been put up in an area where he's lived for a couple of years now, at least. Neighbors saying, "Don't talk to us, don't knock on our door. We did not know him." Does that surprise you or tell you anything, the fact that he lived there for quite some time and people said, "We don't know him, we can't really comment on this at all because we never really saw him"?
I think when I was a young kid growing up, if I didn't know my neighbors, that was out of the ordinary and of concern. I think there are people who live their lives today in the busy world that we have, spend 16 hours at work, and they don't know their neighbors to the left and right of them. So, and if you didn't know this guy, you know, and you have kids and you're wondering about the evil that was living a couple doors away from you, what it could have meant to your family, I understand their reluctance to talk about it and relive the nightmare that this gentleman caused.
All right, Daniel Linsky, we really appreciate your time. Thanks for coming back on.
Thank you.
So we